Welcome back to another video on my channel, guys and girls. Today we'll be looking at how to change the rear axle on a 4-gear chassis, outer world 4-gear chassis. What do I change it for? What kind of different axles are there out there in Slotland? And also we'll have a look at different types of material that we can use for if you want to fix a body, a new body, a different body to a chassis, what materials to use, or what could I use as a spacer material for front axles, for example. So stay tuned, it's gonna pay off. Okay, here we are back at the workbench. Just opened up Outer World 4-gear chassis and a few tools that we're gonna use to remove the rear axle and change it. What are we going to change it for? Oops, sorry. Usually I use, both are from Viper Scale Racing, by the way. The link you'll find below. I purchased them on slotcarsdirect.com because it's the closest one in Europe to be able to order those axles from. And both are manufactured by Viper Scale Racing. So there's either this, can you see it? Yeah, this axle that is a little rough in the middle here to hold the crown gear, or I also use on my drag cars this hollow axle that is actually stiffened with carbon on the inside. Not the cheapest, but very good, believe me, and very light compared. I tend to use those hollow axles on cars where there is races with lower voltage. The ones with higher voltage, like 24 or 30 volts, I go for the full metal ones, so to say, and not the hollow ones. Okay, we need tools, of course, to change the rear axle. They all come from Scale Engineering. They're all really good. Link in the text below, of course, as mentioned, as promised. It is the tool for pushing the axle out. This is the normal standard tool to remove rims, and of course, as the rear axle is out, we're going to peen the axle holes to make them tight and nice. So we're going to start off with this little tool here and push the axle all the way we can with this tool, because we can't push it all the way. This is how it works. Hope you can see it. Now I'm going to start pushing it out to the right here. Okay. Done with that. Can't go any further because, of course, the chassis is blocking the way. This is when I'm going to change tools. I'm going to use the rim removal tool and just push the axle. That's a little fiddly. Out to the right. So you can see, need to hold on to the axle, but I'm pulling with my right hand and pushing with the rim remover. And this is the way we're gonna get the axle out. Here it is. That's the outer world axle. Don't need that anymore. What we will need is the crown gear, of course. Saved here. Okay, so now let me just check the holes with a new axle. Okay. Yes, they do wobble, which means peening time. I'm going to use the peening tool to close the axle holes a little more so that the axle will run smooth and without wobble. I'm going to do that for a few minutes now. Gonna be back in a second. Okay, finished peening now. The axle holes are a lot tighter than before. So I'm gonna put in the crown gear now. Use the new axle. Try to find the hole of the gear found. Trying to find the hole of the other axle hole. And just started to push it through. So we're gonna need this again. Give me a second. Yep. I'm gonna push it right where we want it. What I'm always looking out for is, I've done it too far, is in this little gap here between the end of the crown gear and the axle hole. You can see already the how do you say, the part where the crown gear should sit. I've pushed it a little too far, so no worries. I'm just gonna push it out the other side for a few mils, and then we will have it perfectly aligned where we want it. Give me a sec. Not easy to look at the camera and work with your hands at the same time. So let me see. Still about 1.5 millimeter missing. Yes, I'm European. I'm doing it metric. Okay. So this should do it. Let me see. Still a little space that we need to cover. Done. So very important is always to push the crown gear towards this side here. Never push it towards this side here, because you're going to ruin the teeth. So the only thing that's left to do is put a little drop, a very tiny drop of super glue onto here, so that the crown gear will stay on the new axle. And I promise you, this is going to make a whole lot of difference. Enough of that. I also promised you that we're gonna talk about items to be used that you can use on your Slotcar. No, this does not come out of my ears. This came out of Slotcar cleaning. I use those things to clean the Slotcars, but when I'm done with that, I'm keeping the sticks, because this is the perfect spacer for your front axles, and you can cut it to any width you need it. So again, this is the perfect spacer. Now, if you're working with resin bodies or bodies that you would need to fix onto another chassis, or you can use a screw, you need those things that you glue into the body and you screw onto your chassis, so you can screw the body onto your chassis. Now, one of the best things I've come around is sweets. Yes, of course, I love sweets, but no, this thing is perfect to use in here onto your bodies, to screw your bodies to the chassis. And of course you can align them in the height that you actually need them. So hope this was of some help. Hope there were a few new things in there for you in this video. And don't forget to like my videos, tell your buddies. I need a few more subscriptions as we want to do some live streams on some races here on YouTube. So stay tuned, give me comments, put on some likes. Thank you.